There you go. That is proper good eats. Don't sue me, Mr. Brown. Which pork chop do we think looks better? This one? Well, that one's got a nicer crust on it. You see, it doesn't take long. It's making a pan sauce nice and easy, and it's really rewarding. So okay if it starts to caramelise a little bit, but we don't want it to burn, because nothing's worse than burnt sugar. Well, burnt garlic, but there's also garlic in here as well, and we don't want to burn that either. That is nice. You should always taste when you're cooking, you know. We want all the flavour we can get in there. So that way, in there. Good evening. In out for dinner for two. So, got myself a lovely couple of bone-in pork chops. Technically, I think they're pork cutlets, not chops, because they don't quite come from the place where a chop needs to come from. Lovely, fresh, British pork. Not British because British is better, British because British is closer. You know, it's more sustainable to eat local. Nothing about it being better, it's just better for the environment. Bone-in pork chops. We're going to do a lovely apricot and cider glaze. There's going to be like a pan sauce. In between the pan sauce and the glaze, it's going to be like a thick, sticky sauce. Previous video, one over the previous video, but one of the videos not too long ago, I put a link up in the description. Put a link in the description, but I put a link up on top there. Made this fennel, asparagus and spring pea salad. So we're going to have that with this. Also, a little short video I'll put up as well of making fried sage leaves that we're going to use as garnish. Main ingredients in this is obviously pork chops. And we're going to use some apple cider. This is really quite a dry and strong cider. So essentially it's apple wine. To deglaze, we've got some aromatics we're going to sweat down. Some mustard and some nice apricot conserve jam essentially. Bit of oil, salt and pepper, the usuals. So first things first, I've got the chops. I've got the pork, these quite thick. I'm going to treat them like a steak. So I've got them out of the fridge ages ago. Good 20 minutes, half an hour ago, so they come up to room temperature. We're going to sear them off in a hot pan, take them out to rest, and then use that pan to make our sauce. First things first, we've got a shallot, a clove of garlic, and a sprig of, I was going to say thyme, this isn't thyme, sage, and some sage leaves. We want to mince these up really, really fine, chuck them all in, they can all go in the same bowl. Just want to get all of these things all minced up together because they'll all be going in at the same time and we want them really, really fine. So you want to sit here and watch that for the sake of brevity. We want to turn these into this. So all finely minced up in the same little bowl to one side, ready for when we need it. We're going to use a teaspoon of this and a tablespoon of that, and we can come to that at the time. Right, you also probably want a whisk for that sauce and some tongs. We're using a stainless steel pan. This is your best bet because you don't want to use non-stick because you want fond to develop at the bottom of the pan. Spoken about that before. Cast iron and carbon steel would probably be okay, but the only problem is we're using some quite acidic stuff here. You might run a risk of stripping off some of your seasoning. But if you've got cast iron and carbon steel and you're happy to take that risk, that is up to you. So you get the pan quite hot. We're going to, like a steak, sear this off hard. But because we want to cook it for a bit more, we don't want rare pork, we're going to go for a medium well. A little bit of blushing in there, but it's not going to be cooked to hell and back. We're going to sear it off, hot and fast, get ourselves a nice crust. Then we're going to drop that heat down and we're going to cook them through a bit slower. Take them out, put them in a pan, plate to rest them while we make our sauce. So, oil, about a tablespoon or two of oil in a pan. That's the oil I fried the sage leaves in, so it's actually already got a bit of flavour already in there. We're going to season up our pork chops. Similarly to how we would steak. So we're going to salt on there. It's quite thick, so don't be too afraid. But don't absolutely cake them in it because it's pork. A bit more delicate than beef, flavour-wise. And also, we've got some salty bits and pieces going in a bit later. Bit of pepper on there as well. And then we're going to go in the pan, laying away from ourselves. And we should get a sizzle straight away. I'm going to just season up that other side. Can't remember if I said it's about a tablespoon or two of olive oil. It's a fair bit of oil, more than you probably need with pork, because it's quite fatty and it will render some of that fat out. But we do want to get a really nice crust on there. So, back in a few minutes when they're ready to flip. Okie dokie. Right, so, let me turn this up a sec. Right, so, do about 3-4 minutes. Got a really nice char on the other side. Nice and beautiful. And you can see we're developing a nice bit of fond on the bottom of the pan as well. So we're just going to let that other side go a couple of minutes. And then we're going to turn the heat down a little bit and let it cook through. Okay. Right. Ooh. First things first, turn the heat right down if it isn't already right down. Should be by this point. Got a lovely char on both sides of our pork chops. We're going to take them off to a clean plate to rest. And we're going to use the pan. Turn that off. We use the pan to make our sauce. Now, there's a lot of fat in here from the original oil and also noisy, isn't it? From the original oil and also rendered fat from the pork chops. We don't want that, so I'm going to pour that off to this ramekin. You're going to let that cool and then dispose of it. You could kind of use it for frying. It's kind of like bacon drippings, but it's not the flavour that bacon drippings has. So I'll leave that up to you. But don't just chuck it down your drains because you'll clog your drains. So now, let that pan, we're going to put in a tiny, maybe like just a teaspoon of a bit more olive oil. I'm going to go in with our aromatics, our garlic, our shallots, and our sage leaves. Keep them moving because they will burn, but we do want to get them a little bit of colour. And we're also, at the same time, going to go in with about a tablespoon or two, let's say 2, of our cider. It should already smell amazing. Like I said, this is quite a dry cider. Still got some sweetness there because it's alcohol. But it's also going to be our acidicness. Acidity. So I'm going to scrape up the bottom of the pan, get that fond up. So one of the big benefits of a stainless steel pan is you can really go to town on it and you ain't got to worry about it getting scratched. So that side has probably cooled that pan right down, so I'm going to turn it up a little bit because that side has come straight out of the fridge. Now the aromatics have all sweated down a little bit and our cider's cooked off a bit, so we've lost some of that harsh acidity. We're going to go in with a teaspoon, a heaped teaspoon of Dijon mustard. And our apricot preserve, we want probably 2 tablespoons of this beauty. Oh, one other thing. We want about a tablespoon as well of, this is demerara sugar. Dark brown sugar is preferred, but this is what I've got. So I'm going with about a tablespoon of that. Stir that all in. Right, now you should be getting a really nice, sticky glaze. There might be some chunks of apricot in there from your preserve. It just means that it's a good quality preserve that you're using. Now, you do want to keep this low because there is a lot of sugar in it and that sugar will burn. It's okay if it starts to caramelise a little bit, but we don't want it to burn because nothing's worse than burnt sugar. Well, burnt garlic, but there's also garlic in here as well and we don't want to burn that either. You see, it doesn't take long. It's making a pan sauce nice and easy and it's really rewarding. Right, what we want to do is, there's resting juices on this plate from these resting pork chops. So we're going to introduce that into the pan. Get that incorporated as well. It's all flavour. We want all the flavour we can get in there. So that way, in there. Now, dip the back of a spoon in it, and hopefully it should coat the back of a spoon. There you can tell when the sauce is right. If you wipe through it, it should hold. So far worth a taste. That's really nice and sweet, but to do with It's a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. Right, give it one little nice little stir to combine. Now, I'm going to reintroduce our pork chops, and we're just going to give them a baste in that sauce. Ooh. You can tilt the pan down towards you so it forms a well. Just baste it over them. Right, nice plate. We go with a decent helping of our fennel and asparagus salad. On one side, right, a salad. Now we're going to get a decent sized spoonful of our sauce. Put that underneath. Get our pork chop. Put it on the sauce. And then, because we don't want to be stingy, put more sauce on top. Isn't that a beaut? And I'm just going to garnish with fried crispy sage leaves. Et voila! A beautiful, tasty, sticky, sweet, bit salty, bit acidic, cider and apricot glazed pork chop. I've only plated one, but obviously this is a meal for two. Link to that's going to be in the description, and also I'll put a card where I can. Took me 15-20 minutes. Did a bit of prep work off camera, obviously. But there you go. That is proper good eats. Don't sue me, Mr. Brown. For a midweek meal, what more can you ask for? It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, tasty. Trust me, you're going to want to make it. You're going to want to eat it. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm going to go stick it in my face because I'm starving. Been a long day and I skipped lunch. Okay, bish bosh, on the roof, Robert's your mother's brother, sorted. I'm going to get myself a nice glass of cider and chow down. Hope you're all doing good. You know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, see you when I see yous. Next time I see you, can't be good, be lucky and all that jazz. Alright, see you later.